Welcome to the Brain Pick a Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. I'm Larry Goins. If you watch this show, you know we interview the best of the best, people who have tips, tools, techniques, strategies, and things that you can use in your real estate business, things that I use, things our students use. And I'm really excited today to bring on a person that I really haven't known that long, but I got to tell you, I should have, because it would have helped me make a lot more money on my deals. So when I found out about this guy and what he was doing to help some of my friends, I'm like, I got to get him on a podcast. So please give a warm welcome to Paul Ritter. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Larry. Hey, thank you for having me here today. I guess our mutual acquaintance that kind of put us together is Jay Connor.
Right.
Long-time friend of mine. I've been working with JUGs for about 7 or 8 years. I've also worked with Ron LeGrand and a lot of other real estate investor trainers around the country. But I'm happy to be here with you and to discuss what we have put together here. And we're actually in a very rainy Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now.
Right.
The thing that we do that really helps this industry out, I call it the ultimate lease option exit strategy. So we're going to go over that in a little bit of detail. It's really essentially two services rolled into one. It's a screening service. It's the Cadillac of the screening services, and a credit repair service that is designed specifically for this industry. I like to say that credit repair is not a commodity item in this industry. If you really are trying to cash people out, you really want to get them to that second closing table, that one that they put their name on the title to the property. Our credit repair is designed goal-oriented, not money-oriented. In other words, we're not trying to extract as much money as we can from our clients. We're trying to get them to that second closing table. And what that does for the real estate investor is it gets them to that cash-out check at the end of the cycle.
So basically what you're saying is, if we're buying a property and we're going to sell or finance it, whether a land contract or whatever, or we're going to lease option it, by the client, the borrower working with you, they're able to get their credit to a point to where they can actually go and qualify for bank financing to cash us out and get us out of the picture and pay us off, and we get a lump sum of money.
Exactly. Now, there are really two types of seller financing. There's seller financing where I'm really financing them for 15 or 30 years. I hope they make all their payments. Or there's seller financing that has a balloon note at the end, where I'm basically, I want that money, I want this thing to cash out. Maybe I only have the house under control for 5 years, and I really want to get them there. Now, a lease option, when you're doing a lease purchase, typically you want to get them there. You want to get them to a point where they cash out.
Right. Absolutely. And doing a lease purchase or a lease option, if you own it for 12 months, that gives them time enough for you to work with them and get their credit established, get everything they need to be able to qualify for a loan. Then when we cash out after 12 months, the great news is now it's a long-term capital gain, and we even save money on taxes.
Exactly. That's a key component to this. You want to make more money. You want to get people cashed out. You want to have your name be, a good name in the industry around your town, that you're not just taking people's money and hoping that they fail. So you want to have that type of business. That's the Jay Connor style of business. That's what we do here. We help people get there. And by the way, Larry, my wife and I, we're also real estate investors. So we don't say anything that might mess up your deal. Like, we know that you may not actually own the property. You might just control the property.
Right.
So all the nomenclature is specific to this industry. So as we go through our service, we're making certain that we're edifying you, the real estate investor. We're letting the people know how blessed they are to be able to work with somebody who cares to get them to the second closing table.
Right.
And so we're essentially making it a lot easier for you to close your deal, because we're going through and educating them on what they need in order to be mortgage ready. And they feel so much more comfortable after speaking with us.
That's so true. That's very, very, very important. And the fact that you're a real estate investor really helps. So why don't you jump in and, I know we want to keep this around 30 minutes or so. So everybody, because people don't have, an hour and a half anymore to watch stuff like this. So I know you've got a little bit of information you want to share. So I want to make sure that you get every bit of good information out there. So why don't you just jump right in and tell us a little bit about your services and kind of how it works and how investors like me and our students can benefit.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you can see it now, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just a
Yeah, I
couple
see
of
it.
slides that help to accentuate what we're talking about here. So again, here's my cell phone number. This is for you and your audience. Please don't give this number out to your to their customers. This is my personal cell phone number. So use it, but don't abuse it. We have my credit team is the name of our credit repair service. More on that in a moment. And our pre-qualification team is actually done by Screen the Tenant. The Rent to Own Free Listings is a website that I have here that your users can put, your real estate investors can put their properties on there for free.
Right.
Okay, so if I can, let me see if okay. So the idea here is that you want to eat that sandwich. You want to cash out your tenant buyers. So we want to get them people again to the second closing table, which is the one that puts their name on title. Now this next screen here, I'm going to spend some time on this screen. I really don't care if I get to any other slides because this is the one really that drives everything right here. This is we call it the debt to income ratio worksheet.
Right.
The tenant buyer is going to call it an affordability analysis, and also the real estate investor. So it's important to understand, can the people afford the property? And you won't get this with Landlord Station or with TransUnion Smart Moves or any other screening service out there. And that's why we charge $50 for our screening. Everybody else charges $30, but we're actually calling the people and getting their pay stubs and their W-2s. And we're putting their information on this essentially spreadsheet that has control options here, that as I change my credit score, and I don't have this thing live so the spin buttons work, but as I change my credit score, many different programs become available. The type of loan, right. FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac. Larry, we have all those guidelines built into this software here. The amount of down payment, the amount of monthly payment, and if you can see here where it says, I don't know if you can see my mouse mimics, credit score unacceptable for mortgage loan, contact my credit team. So anytime anything's out of range over here, it gives me an error message and what the fix would be over here to the right-hand side. So if I don't put enough down payment based upon an FHA loan, it would show something out here. Notice up here, if you can see where my mouse is circling, that we do put all the debts in. In this particular debt right here, the CNAC automobile, I've got this number in brackets, which doesn't change it to negative. Actually, just makes it like it's a zero. This is a business automobile. So we know that underwriting guidelines would dictate that you could ignore the automobile payment if the business is paying for it. We know if there's less than 10 payments on an automobile that you can ignore that payment at the time in which the application is made. So we're going all the way, we're pulling the hood up and we're checking the engine. We're to see what's going on with this person's income and their debt to income ratio. So to make certain that they can afford the house, we can play what if. This is the perfect what if scenario. What if my income were higher? For example, the guy just started his landscaping business and he's a year into it. And he needs to know what he needs to show as his adjusted gross income in order to qualify for a house of perhaps $150,000 with $25,000 down. We can figure it out backwards for him what he needs to show on his tax returns. So not only do we figure all this stuff out, but you'll notice down here where it says Joe Sample, that's a signature line. He and his significant other are actually going to sign this, and the text above it here says basically that he's not going to materially change his income or his debt load. So you're getting a commitment from him that A, he can afford the house, and then B, that he's not going to materially change anything in order to screw this deal up. So we're coaching him, all that stuff that they should have taught us, Larry, in high school and college about affordability and affording a property and budgeting and all that kind of stuff. That's what this is really teaching us, what needs to be done in order to get from cradle to grave, from where I am right now to making application for the mortgage. So this is really the heart and soul of everything. Now, behind all of this, there's credit repair and stuff I'll get into in just a minute. But is there any questions on this, Larry, or any observations you want to kind of put forward about this particular element?
I really like that. It's really looks like a handy tool. Is this something me as the lease option person uses, or do you generate that and then we have the lease option tenant or the borrower sign it?
Yeah, it's something that we actually deliver to you as a part of the $50 you pay. We deliver it to you in a PDF format. In other words, it's an image file. You're not going to have the nuts and bolts to be able to change these. We work
Right.
with the people to do
Right.
that because we understand the underwriting guidelines and the potential gotchas in here, and we can adjust the interest rate based upon what is prevalent in what is out there today, and
Sure.
so there's some there's some guessing here because interest rates may go up to 6% next year. We don't know,
Right.
but anyhow, we come up with all these what ifs, and we get this thing pretty darn close to what it's going to need to be. So to you, the real estate investor, it becomes a disclosure form. So I would use this in tandem with any contracts you already have. So it becomes a supplement or an addendum, and have them sign this. And we actually have another addendum too. It talks about the credit enhancement if they enroll in that. That says that they're going to stay in the credit repair, engage and stay in the credit repair, and follow our instructions. Did that answer your question, Larry, on this?
Absolutely, it did. Thank you.
Okay, so that's again, that's the heart and soul. Now, if they need to have credit repair, this company will refer them over to the My Credit Team company. The way the things work here internally, my wife, Jillian, runs the screening service, and I run the credit repair company. We're small but mighty. We've got like 8 employees, so we can handle your volume, so please bring it on. What we're doing here, this is the addendum to the lease. This is basically what we talked about here, that says that Joe Sample is going to engage in our credit repair service, and then and that also it triggers the people the real estate investor to have a tracking mechanism so they can track their results online, real time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So this is the key to that. Again, it's another addendum to the lease. Most people have them sign this in addition to their current documentation. Criminal background check. I'm sorry, Larry, go ahead.
I just said I like it.
Criminal background check, Megan's Law report, complete underwriting guidelines, debt-to-income ratio analysis, income verification. All that stuff's a part of your report too. It comes to you all in a PDF file. And the trigger mechanism, when people go to engage in our service, in other words, they go and they see your house. So workflow here. They go and they see your house, or they go out to see your house. Now you've sent them to screenthetenant.com. The real estate investor can actually complete the application on their behalf if they take the application. Sometimes people like to take the money and they like to take the application, have them sign it right there on site. Sometimes most people start out that way, and then they migrate to, hey, listen, I'm just going to send you directly to the application process. And essentially what they're doing is outsourcing the application to us.
Right.
So they send them to screenthetenant.com. The tenant buyer fills out the application. Let me see if I can bring that up here. Basically, this is what the screen looks like right here for Screen the Tenant. The landlord application, what I'm circling right now, is if you have the application and you're going to fill it out and you're going to pay the $50. In other words, you collected the money from the people that are buying the property. Right. The tenant application or the house or the tenant application here, they all link to the same place. It's basically, each of these is a form that asks the people their name, address, date of birth, social security number, and even goes into getting a copy of their credit report, because we don't like to have another inquiry, so we use their Credit Karma or freecreditreport.com. We use one of those reports because all we really need is the debt load, and the score isn't quite as important to us because we know we can adjust the score based upon having them engage in the credit repair.
Right.
So this is the front end piece, and there's a place here for real estate investors too, so you can see kind of what we're doing behind the scenes. So that's kind of where they would go to fill out the application. The dialogue that we conduct whenever Screen the Tenant calls your prospect, we basically confirm the address and we tell them why lease option is very valuable. Something you're not going to get with Landlord Station. I had people who were selling their own house. And since I'm a real estate investor, I convinced the guy to talk to the person who referred him to me. In other words, the real estate investor got another deal out of it. I said, don't sell your house through a realtor. Use the same methodology. Work with the guy who is selling you this new house, and he can make you an offer perhaps on your house. And the guy ended up getting that house under contract, and it hasn't closed yet, but he has a house under contract. So how valuable is that, where you can pick up an extra 10, 20, 30,000 on another house that basically you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Right.
So we tell them why it's so important, edify you, why lease option is valuable. We go over the credit report and refer them to my credit team. And by the way, we offer a free consultation. So that $50 that they pay for the application becomes a free consultation. It's a $79 value. So we walk them through getting their credit report and get their income documentation. And we don't discuss any details of the transaction. Hey, can I have cats and dogs at this house? That's not up to us. We basically let them know that we're here to help them with the application process.
Right. So you're going to basically let us know if this is a good candidate, that you could get them to a place, or they could get themselves with your help to a place where they could cash us out in the next 12 months or so.
Yes, and I like the way you phrase that, Larry. Good candidate. I don't say yes, you should do it. I don't say no, you shouldn't do it. That's not my job. My job is to tell you how long is it going to be for them to be mortgage ready, and what needs to happen in order for them to go from where they are to where they need to be.
Good. That's important.
Yeah, that's basically what I tell them too, because a lot of times they'll ask me, "Did I get the house?" Well, I'm not here to give you that answer. I'm here to present the facts as to what your case looks like to the person who controls this property.
Right.
So this is the site here that my credit team, the front page on it, and notice here we have a section for rent to own. Other credit repair companies don't even know how to spell this. They don't know what this is all about. That's a key component. We basically help to educate the people, again, what they need to do in order to get to the second closing table. Building credit, age of credit, mix of credit, balance limit ratio, all the others, 65% of your score that the dispute resolution process does not cover. We handle all that. We got a credit card that people can get to $5,000 unsecured credit card. Major player, major credit card. You're not going to get that with Lexington Law or anybody else. Student loan consolidation. So some multimedia, if they want to look at some, they'd like to learn differently. They like to learn by using videos and audios. So this is kind of the front end door to all that. This would be helpful if you already have somebody in a house, okay? And now you want them to go directly to the credit repair. You didn't know me, so you didn't know to have them screened by us, but they're in your house and you want to get them cashed out on the other side. Send them directly here to my credit team, and they'll get the free analysis because they came referred through your audience, anybody that you do business with.
Good.
Okay.
I like it.
Go ahead. So whenever my credit team talks to the people, we ask them, we've been asked to help them with the credit piece of the transaction. And again, why rent own is a great value, edify you. And once they commit to enroll, we let them know that this does not mean that they get the house. And then we give them a full action plan, everything they need to do in order to get to be mortgage ready, everything they need to do. So what we do that's different than other credit repair companies, and you heard me say that it's not a commodity item. Other credit repair companies will dispute 1, 2, or 3 items at a time. Let's say somebody has 10 negative items. That means they have about 30 across 3. And with that, if I were to dispute one thing every 45 days, you can see how it could take years just to get through the first level of disputes. We're going to dispute all the negative items each time. And so it's that going at it very, very aggressive, going at it leaps and bounds, that gets things to the score that they need to be at much quicker. So that's the difference. That's the secret sauce that gets you to where you need to be. And that's why we've made our name in this industry. That's why we're endorsed by people like Ron LeGrand and Jay Connor. because they understand that we're constructed goal-oriented. We want to get them to the second closing table, and then we do what it needs to be done in order to get them there. Okay, so as far as expense, we're $120 a month for no more than 9 months. So we have an end date on the date that they start. So you're not going to get that with any other company. Any other company says, "Oh, just enroll in our credit repair and we'll get you done as quickly as we possibly can." Well, that might take years, but they won't tell you that. We do custom disputes, and that raises the likelihood that things are to come off the credit profile. So don't work with a company that doesn't do custom disputes. And never dispute online. This is critical too. If people say to you, "Well, I'm doing my own credit repair," or my cousin's going to do it for me," that should raise red flags. Disputing online doesn't work, and the reason why is because when you dispute online, it triggers an internal system that's called EOSC, or essentially one computer's talking to another, and the very information that you're disputing is what was uploaded from the creditor to the credit bureau.
Right.
And that doesn't work because the computer is always right in its validation process. And that's why it doesn't come off. And with our procedure, we actually write a letter that goes to the credit bureaus. And with those dispute letters, they have to be opened up by somebody at the credit bureau. Now that person becomes accountable to your case file. And that is a reasonable investigation. So that's the difference between disputing it online, which doesn't work as good as what we do. You might get some things off. If you dispute online, you might get, 10, 20% of the things off. But the reality is you want to have our average improvement in score is 85 points during the time that people work with us. And we're getting about 60 to 70% of the negative things permanently removed from the credit profile. We have a credit report guard program that's for people who complete our service. It's very inexpensive. It's $30 a month, but it's only for those who have completed and only have a couple items hanging around on their credit report.
Right.
This New Coast Direct card, Larry, this is that $5,000 unsecured card that we offer. Over here on the right-hand side are the underwriting guidelines. You got to be 18 years old or a U.S. citizen, have a valid Social Security number, have some prior credit history, and a minimum household income of $1,600. And if you have those and you have $100 to apply, actually it's $99, then you're going to get all the stuff that's on the left here, plus it's a $5,000 unsecured card. Typical improvement score is somewhere between 35 and 40 points. So this is a major player. It's a major credit card. So that's kind of it. I can send to you, anybody that's listening, a script, what to say to a prospective tenant buyer. So if, I don't know how you would do that, just have them, I can give them a text number if they'd like to text me their email address.
If you would like, if you could send it to Arshia that set up our podcast, and she'll put it with the show notes to get put. She'll put it with our podcast engineer to put in the show notes.
Excellent idea. I will
tell them to put it in the show notes when you send it to her, and we'll make sure it is on this page. Great
idea. We'll send you that. We also do business credit too. So if anybody ever wants to get business credit, it's a lot more expensive. It's like $2,700, but for that, you're not using your EIN number, and you get use of their software for like 5 years. You get a business credit coach for an entire year.
Right.
So, and they guarantee that you're going to get at least $50,000 worth of business credit.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. I think the main thing to learn here is, you offer a lot of services, but the main thing is being able to cash out your seller finance, land contract, and lease option deals, 12, 24 months down the road.
Yeah, that's the key component. That's what we do, and separate than any other credit repair companies. Like other credit repair companies, it's an afterthought.
Right.
You try to plug it in and retrofit it to your situation, whereas this is all designed for a real estate investor, for a lease option transaction, and all the edification and the saying of the right things all along the way, and the training the people what to do, and keeping you involved, the real estate investor involved, so that they can track those results. And by the way, if people leave the service, I even tell them before they enroll. I say, here's the deal. If you enroll in our service and you're playing the system, in other words, you're just enrolling a month or two later, you're going to leave our service.
Right.
I'm obligated to let the person who put you in this house, I'm obligated to let them know that you've left our service.
Right,
So,
because they sign an addendum to the lease option.
and they sign an addendum. Oh no, Mr. Ritter, we're not going to do it that way. We're very much committed to getting this house. So that's kind of what I hear usually. Sometimes down the road, they do, say, hey, my truck broke down. I can't make the payment, but we're very flexible there. We'll say, listen, here's what we're doing. We're just going to kind of suspend things for a month or two. I'll let you know it's in suspense. But we typically have enough leniency we have enough time in there. When I say how long it's going to be to be mortgage ready, I give you, Larry, like a range, somewhere between 6 and 12 months, 12 months and 18 months. It's a 6-month window.
Right.
And during that 6-month window, they're doing other things like building new credit, and it kind of gives you, they're applying for the house. Maybe they're putting a new handrail on or whatever. So during that time frame, that leniency gives them an opportunity to be successful with this.
Right. That's good, man. This is good stuff. This is really good info. So what do you find? Should I, as the seller, pay your fee up front, or should we try to rely on the borrower to do it? Or how do some of your other clients do that? Because you and I both know some of them are going to fall out if we rely on them to do it every month.
Oh, you're asking me not about the screening fee, Larry. You're asking me about the credit repair fee.
Right.
Oh, well, Jay's kind of a unique bird. He actually pays for the stuff for them, and he puts it in his advertising. He says, "Oh, free credit repair with the house," and that drives more people to him. So that's one way of doing it. To be honest with you, I find it to be more successful if the people have the skin in the game. The people pay for their own credit repair.
Right.
If you, the real estate investor, pay for it, obviously I'm going to give you a discount because, I get all the money up front. And for one thing, so we knock a month off. If it's a 9-month program, we'll only charge 8 months. And so there's some leniency there. But most people, I would say about 95% of the people have the tenant buyer pay for it because they do like that skin in the game. The one thing I will say is that don't tap them for, how much can you put down? Don't tap them for every dollar, because when it comes time for them to move and get a truck, or it comes time for them to pay for the credit repair, and they start singing the blues to me, I don't have $120 to get this thing started.
Right.
It really, it puts them in a very weak position. And if you want to close them, ultimately, you don't want to have them come out of the gate being crippled.
You don't want to set them up to fail. I mean, there's going to be things like maybe they change from, one power company to another one, and it's going to require a deposit, right?
Right.
There's going to be expenses. There might be some repairs they need to do to the house. They might need some furniture or whatever. So you don't want to set them up to fail. You want to set them up to succeed.
Yeah, agreed. And that's all part of it. So that's what we're all about. We're helping people, and it's a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for you. It's a win for the guy selling the house,
right?
Because he actually gets them cashed out. It's a win for the people who couldn't buy a toaster on credit. Now they come in and they end up buying a house. And I get so many thank you cards that it's a wonderful. I mean, I spring out of bed in the morning, Larry, because I'm helping people out in a big way. This is their where they live, where their kids go to school. We as real estate investors should feel really good about our vocation, because we're providing a rare opportunity that they otherwise don't have. And what I'm doing here with the ultimate exit strategy just enhances the likelihood that they're going to get to a place where they're going to cash out, and they're going to have, the kids are going to go to the school that they want. They're going to live where they want. So feel good about what you do, and use the right tools, and do the right thing, and you'll be blessed.
That's awesome, man. I love it. I really appreciate you sharing this. Let us know one more time how our students our listeners can reach you to find out about the pre-screening as well as the credit repair.
Okay, well, it's real simple. It's area code 412-242-2733 is the main line that's going to come into the screening company. Screen the Tenant is the main website. It's the front end website. Now, again, if someone's already in a house, you want to send them directly to my credit team. But that phone number will service either. We can service the credit repair or the screening. My personal email address, again, is use it but don't abuse it, paul@mycreditteam.com. I'm also out on Facebook. If that's the way you like to communicate, please friend me. And, and I also have a Facebook page they can go to, and they can be a member of that or whatever they call that. I'm not real good with social media. But anyhow, yeah, I'm very approachable, very reachable. And I'd love to talk with, any of the people that you have had on this podcast, talk with them extensively and kind of help them set up their business for success. So those are the ways to reach us, any of those. And look at the notes here, as you said before, for the screening for the script. And I'll put a couple other things in there too for you too.
That's good.
Some other giveaways.
That is good. That's really good. I love this. And it's very, very, very important because one of the big things about doing lease options and seller finance and land contracts is, you want to get the person to cash out on the other end eventually. Now, sometimes it's okay to have them stay for the life of the loan. That's fine. But
Right.
There's times that you want them and there's times that they want to cash out as well. Even in buying notes, I'm sure you work with people who buy and sell notes. You put the borrower in the program of a note that you've bought, and then you get the borrower in the program, then they can go refinance and pay the note off at a smaller discount than you paid for the note, right?
Right. Getting them to that closing table makes everything way more valuable.
That's awesome.
The value of the note.
That's awesome, man. I really, really appreciate you being on today. Thank you so much. This has been some great, great information. I know the students are going to get a lot out of it. Get ready for your phone to start ringing.
All right. Hey, thank you for having me today, Larry. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. That's awesome. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.